Video is going to talk about adding and subtracting fractions. It's going to talk about adding and subtracting fractions in mixed numbers that have the same denominator, a common denominator, and it's going to talk about adding and subtracting fractions that don't have a same denominator, but that it's very easy to find a common denominator in them. And then in the next video tomorrow, we're going to talk about fractions where it's not so easy to find a common denominator, and we're going to show some problems that will help you with that. So, the first question that we have is 2 over 9 plus 4 over 9. Now, what we know about this problem, think about pizza. This pizza is cut up into 9 slices, this pizza is cut up into 9 slices, so to figure out how much we have total, we know that we can talk about our answer in terms of 9 slices. So that denominator stays the same. You always want the same denominator, a common denominator, when you are adding and subtracting with fractions. So because the number on the bottom is the same, we just add the numerator like normal. 2 plus 4 is 6. So my answer is 6 over 9. Except that's not my complete answer because I do have to simplify. So I'm going to look at 6 over 9 and know that I can divide by 3 over 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So my final answer is 2/3. Let's take a look at a mixed number. This is 3 and 21 over 25 minus 2 and 6 over 25. So what I need to do for this is I need to treat the fractions just like I did before and first check and see if there's a common denominator. And it turns out there is. These are both common denominators. The denominator is the same, which means my answer can have a denominator of 25. Then I'm going to subtract the numerators like normal because this one's a subtraction problem. So I have 21 minus 6, and 21 minus 6 is 15. And then I'm going to take a look at the whole number, which I'm going to treat separately. So I have a 3 and a 2 there, so 3 minus 2 is 1. And my answer looks like 1 and 15 over 25, except I can simplify 15 over 25. And I can simplify by dividing by 5 over 5. So I'm going to take 15 divided by 5, and that's 3. 25 divided by 5 is 5. So I know that my simplified answer is 3/5. Then what I'm going to do is I need to take that whole number from before and keep it with that fraction. So 1 and 15 over 25 becomes 1 and 3 over 25 for my final answer. Probably doesn't hurt to make sure that you're circling your final answer because there's a lot of stuff going on in here and you want to make sure that your teacher is able to find your final answer so that you can get the grade for the appropriate thing, and I know that you know where you've ended. The next thing that we're going to take a look at is what happens when we don't have the same denominator, but we can just change one of the fractions so that they both have the same denominator. So in this case we have 5 over 8 minus 2 over 4. And with 5 over 8 minus 2 over 4, I know that 4 times 2 is 8. So I'm going to leave 5/8 alone. And I know that I can change this 2 over 4 to something over 8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 over 4 off to the side, and I need to get it to something over 8. Should be a little bit better. Okay, so 4 times 2 is 8. So 2 times 2 is 4. So instead of having 2/4, I'm going to have 4/8. Now I have 5 over 8 minus 4 over 8, and I can take care of that really easily. 5 minus 4 is 1. The denominator stays the same. My final answer is 1/8. Now we're going to take a look at this mixed number down below. This mixed number also does not have a common denominator. So to figure out what the common denominator is, I need to look at 2 and 14. And when I look at 2 and 14, I realize that 2 can go into 14. So I'm going to leave 5 3/14 alone. And I'm going to change 9 1/2 into something else. So I'm going to take that 1/2, and I need it to get a denominator of 14. And if you don't know 2 times 7 is 14, you can also cross multiply and divide with this. That's another tool that you can use. But I know that 2 times 7 is 14. So I'm going to multiply by 7 on the top and get 7 over 14. So instead of 1/2, we have our new fraction, and I have to make sure I take that 9 as a whole number and also carry it down. So now I have 9 and 7 over 14 plus 5 and 3 over 14. I want to take the denominator is going to stay the same. The numerator, 7 plus 3, is going to be 10. My whole number, 9 plus 5, is going to be 14. It might look like I'm done, but I do have to remember to check to see if I can simplify. And I know that I can simplify 10 and 14 because they are both even numbers, so I'm going to simplify by 2 over 2. 10 divided by 2 is going to be 5. 14 divided by 2 is going to be 7. And I have to make sure I take that 14 and shift it over. So my final answer is 14 and 5 over 7. Now, your problem is going to be 4 and 11/12 minus 1 and 3/4.